The first-class cabin glowed with soft golden light, the kind that promised luxury and privilege. Crystal glasses clinked faintly, leather seats reclined at the touch of a button, and attendants moved with a polished rhythm. But amid the hum of comfort and exclusivity, one moment shattered the illusion of refinement. "Excuse me, ma'am," a flight attendant's voice cut sharply across the cabin. "This section is for first-class passengers only. You must have taken a wrong turn." Heads turned. Businessmen in tailored suits, a socialite flipping through a glossy magazine, and a young couple sipping champagne all lifted their eyes. And in their gaze stood a woman who clearly didn't belong, at least, not to them. Dr. Maya Ellison froze, her boarding pass in hand. She was tall, graceful, with skin the deep, warm brown of mahogany polished under soft light. She wore a simple black dress, not the glittering attire of a celebrity, nor the flashy markers of old money. Her hair was braided neatly back, her face makeup-free. Only her eyes, sharp and intelligent, gave away the quiet power she carried. "I assure you," Maya said calmly, holding out her ticket, "this is my seat." The flight attendant snatched the boarding pass, glanced at it, and then gave a half-smile that wasn't kind at all. "First class, seat 2A. Interesting." She raised her brows, as if the paper itself were lying. From the row behind, a man chuckled under his breath. Another leaned over to his companion and whispered too loudly, "Probably an upgrade mistake. Happens all the time." The murmurs spread, a low tide of judgment. Maya's hand tightened on her handbag, but her posture remained perfectly composed. She had learned, long ago, not to flinch under scrutiny. Not in boardrooms where she was the only black woman among a sea of gray suits. Not at Harvard Business School when professors asked her if she was in the right class. And certainly not now, on this flight from New York to London. The attendant, still smirking, handed the ticket back. "We'll need to double-check with the captain. Please wait at the back of the cabin until we sort this out." Laughter. Not loud, not cruel, but enough to sting, a ripple of people enjoying the awkward theater. Maya swallowed the heat rising in her throat. She could have spoken. She could have said who she was, what she owned, the power she wielded. But she didn't. Not yet. Instead, she turned, her heels clicking softly against the carpet, and walked toward the back. The eyes followed her like shadows. Row 28 smelled faintly of reheated meals and fabric softener. The economy cabin was crowded, humming with chatter. Children giggled, an elderly couple shared a crossword, and a young mother juggled her baby with the patience of a saint. Maya slid into an empty aisle seat while the crew sorted things out. She noticed the young mother struggling to reach her diaper bag overhead while holding the baby. Without a word, Maya stood, lifted it down with ease, and handed it over. "Thank you," the woman whispered, relief flooding her face. Maya smiled. "You're welcome. You're doing great." It was such a small exchange, but it reminded her why she loved humanity, even when humanity wasn't kind to her. 10 minutes passed. 15. No one came for her. She could still hear faint laughter trickling from the front. She exhaled slowly, then reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. A single message, typed swiftly, sent across the Atlantic through the airline's private channel. "On flight 217, crew humiliation. Handle immediately." She slid the phone back in. And she waited. By the time the seatbelt sign blinked off, a ripple of movement stirred the cabin. The chief flight attendant, suddenly pale, hurried down the aisle, her heels clicking faster than decorum allowed. She stopped in front of Maya. "Dr. Ellison?" Her voice cracked slightly. Maya looked up, serene. "Yes?" The attendant bent closer, almost bowing. "We deeply apologize for the mistake. Your seat is ready. Please, follow me." Every eye in economy swiveled toward her. The young mother's jaw dropped. The elderly couple exchanged glances. Slowly, Maya rose, smoothing her dress, and walked back up the long aisle. This time, people didn't whisper that she didn't belong. They whispered something else. "Who is she? Why are they apologizing? Did you hear her name? Ellison." When Maya stepped back into first class, the energy had shifted. The crew no longer smirked. They looked like they wanted the floor to swallow them whole. The captain himself stood near her seat, his hat tucked respectfully under his arm. "Dr. Ellison," he said, his voice steady but cautious, "on behalf of the airline, I offer my sincerest apologies. It was a grave misunderstanding." Maya tilted her head slightly, studying him. The laughter from earlier echoed faintly in her memory, but she said nothing. She simply sat, placed her handbag neatly beside her, and opened her tablet. The businessman behind her, the one who had chuckled, leaned forward. So, you're important? Maya turned slowly, her gaze cool. I'm the CEO of Ellison Global Holdings. She let the words hang for a beat. Which owns this airline? The silence that followed was absolute. It wasn't anger that filled the air. It was the weight of realization, pressing down on every smirk, every whisper, every chuckle that had once been at her expense. Faces flushed. Throats cleared. Suddenly, first class didn't feel so comfortable. Maya didn't gloat. She didn't raise her voice or demand recompense. She simply returned to her reading, her poise unshaken, her silence louder than any outburst could have been. But what no one saw was the flicker of memory behind her calm expression. The little girl sitting on her grandmother's porch in Atlanta, hearing stories about dignity. The young woman told she was too ambitious. The countless boardrooms where her intelligence was underestimated. And now here, in the plush cabin of a plane she technically owned, the cycle had played again. But she had learned something in her rise. Power wasn't about proving people wrong in the moment. It was about what you did afterward. An hour into the flight, Maya rose from her seat. The crew stiffened, uncertain. Passengers watched, expectant. But instead of confrontation, Maya walked past the curtain separating first class from economy. Back in row 28, the young mother still held her baby, now asleep on her chest. She looked up in shock as Maya returned. Would you like to stretch your legs? Maya asked gently. I can hold her for a while. The woman blinked. Oh, are you sure? Maya nodded. Carefully, she cradled the child, rocking her softly as the mother, nearly in tears, stood and stretched for the first time in hours. The passengers nearby watched in awe. They didn't know her title, her wealth, or her power. All they saw was kindness. When the baby cooed in her arms, Maya smiled. A smile more genuine than any boardroom victory had ever drawn. By the time the plane landed in London, word had spread through the cabins. Not just that the mysterious woman in first class owned the airline, but that she had walked back to economy to help a stranger with a baby. The young mother, grateful beyond words, whispered as passengers disembarked, You're not what I expected. Maya smiled, returning the child. Most people aren't. And with that, she disappeared into the flow of travelers, her presence leaving behind a silence, a story, and perhaps, a lesson no one would forget.